A member of the House of Representatives, Awaji-Inombek Abiante, is urging President Bola Tinubu to restore Governor Fubara of Rivers State before the expiration of the 6-month emergency rule period. Abiante also suggested that the president engage the National Peace Committee headed by former head of state Abdulsalami Abubakar to mediate between the warring parties in Rivers State and also find a common ground for peace. It's worth noting that the suspension of Fubara and other democratically elected representatives have been condemned widely by many Nigerians, including opposition parties and civil society groups. I'll be speaking, of course, with my guest today, Samuel Yohanna, a former organizing secretary, APC Kaduna State. I'll also be speaking with Diran Odeyemi, as the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, joins virtually from Abuja. I also have Godswill Jumbo, a public affairs analyst, joining virtually from Rivers State. Meanwhile, there is a fresh panic in Rivers State over an alleged move by the newly appointed sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibok Abias, to appoint administrators to head the 23 local government areas, and that the administrators had promised peace in the state, was on the verge of appointing local government administrators. Now, a pro-Fubara group under the auspices of Simplicity movement has warned against the purported attempt to appoint sole administrators at the local government areas in the state. At a press conference in Port Harcourt, the group, while expressing its willingness to work with the Rivers State sole administrator, is delivering good governance. However, noted that any attempt to appoint or extend the appointment of sole administrators to the local government levels would be tantamount to violating the Nigerian Constitution. Take a listen.
We have received credible reports of ongoing plans to appoint sole administrators in the local government areas of Rivers State. We strongly condemn this unconstitutional move as it directly negates the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. We have noticed a worrisome trend on various media outlets and social media platforms where certain bloggers, notorious for blackmailing people to gain social media followers, have been paid to carry out a viral smear campaign against Rivers State, falsely insinuating that there is bloodshed and killings in the state. We condemn this falsehood in the strongest terms. Rivers State remains peaceful, even amid political misunderstandings.
And of course, there you have it. Let me bring in my guest to, of course, react immediately to that video we just saw. Samuel Yohanna, Diran Odeyemi, and Godswill Jumbo. Once again, gentlemen, thank you for your time on the program. It's a pleasure. Let me start with you, Mr. Diran Odeyemi. The idea of extending maybe we should walk, from the ground to the top now. The idea of extending sole administrators to the local government, is that stepping out of line, or is that a bit, overbearing or in line with the Constitution?
I want to believe that right now there is an absolute suspension of democracy in Rivers State. And in a place where you don't have democracy, anything goes. If the sole administrator is appointed to head the state, and he is now in his wisdom extending it to the local government, I think what it tells us is that there's no democracy again in Rivers State. But I would have thought that, do we really need a sole administrator for this local government? Because if you look at it, even when Fubara was there was no local government administration going on. And with the crisis between the PDP and the APC in Rivers State, there wasn't the presence of local government chairman or administration. So I would have expected the sole administrator to just focus himself on the 6 months tenure that was given to him, rather than extending such to the local government. What it means is that perhaps it's a preparation towards extending the 6 months, which I don't think is necessary.
Okay, let me, of course, bring in Godswill Jumbo into this. I mean, Diran said that it feels that for now, it appears democracy has been suspended in Rivers State. What do you make of this? The idea of having administrators also at the local government level in Rivers. Godswill, that's for you.
Okay, yes, to get the perspective right on that, I think it's important we background the issue. The thing is, foundationally, the legal community has been able to make it very clear that the state of emergency is illegal, it's unconstitutional, the appointment of an administrator and all of that. So we think that, extending to the local governments to appoint administrators will further aggravate the situation. Rivers State is peaceful. The security agencies across the state are on top of their game. There was no ground, necessitating the imposition of a state of emergency. And I can tell you for sure, because as a journalist, I have been on the streets, I've been in the creeks, I've been in the mangroves, and those who follow Christina reports can attest to that. We work, in close proximity with the various security agencies. So whatever security reports that we're giving to the president were faulty. Rivers State is peaceful.
Sorry, you said whatever. I'm sorry, I'm going to stay with you on that. Mr. Jumbo.
So, I think that imposing another sole administrators at the local government will further, aggravate the situation. There is already a system to manage the local government in the absence of political leadership. The heads of local government administration are empowered to manage the local government councils across the 23 LGAs. Whether you want to look at the financial regulation or you want to look at the administrative protocols for managing the local governments, these people, and so many of them, they are PhD holders, they are, in fact, even in the realm of farm sex. So they are capable enough to run the local government during this emergency period. And then, if the sole administrator, Vice Admiral Ibas, has any issue, why not work with security personnel across the local governments? The most senior in each local government should be able to report to you what is the security situation from each of the LGAs. But administratively, let the LGAs run the LGAs. But let me even ask, by the way, if he was to appoint administrators, who are the people he's going to appoint? Who are going to make the recommendations? Because he is not from Rivers State, he does not know the people. Who are the people that are going to nominate persons to him? Is it the people on the side of Wike, or the people on the side of Fubara? So you see, there is already a problem with that. And he cannot, Rivers State as it is now, politically is not neutral. So no matter which direction he wants to look, it will still bring us back to where we were before the president declared a state of emergency. So it is better the idea is jettisoned entirely. He has promised to be apolitical, throughout the period he has been mandated to manage the state. And to be able to ensure that that happens, let him work with the civil servants, both at the state level and at the local government level. And for security, he already has security formations across the state, the police, the military, the paramilitary. He can work with them, and everything will be fine.
All right, Jumbo.
He not jump into the arena and get himself.
All right, Jumbo. I mean, you have quite a lot to say, but I'm still going to come back to you. Just give me a moment. You raised some issues here. You talked about being abreast of the happenings in Rivers State, and that the intel that the president might have been fed with, that's the security intel, might have been faulty, according to you. Hence, there was really no need for a state of emergency. I'm still going to come back to you on that. But let me take Yohanna's thoughts on the idea of administrators, even at the local government level. Should there even have been a sole administrator, in charge of the state in the first place?
You see, I don't support the idea of appointing sole administrators at the local government level. Reason because when the Supreme Court annulled the local council elections that took place last year, I remember the suspended governor appointed the most senior personnel at the local government to take charge of the local government. And I see nothing wrong that the sole administrator in the state now will say he wants to appoint a sole administrator at the local government level. Like Mr. Jumbo just said, that there is nothing wrong with leaving the existing structure at the local government. Reason because already the state is divided along political lines. Now, if he says he wants to appoint sole administrators, from where is he going to bring them? Is he going to bring them from the different camps, or is he going to bring them from one camp? As it is now, let the sole administrator just allow the sleeping dog to lie. Because honestly, as we all know, Rivers is the treasure base of the nation. In as much as the people from Rivers have behaved themselves in a civilized manner, up to this very moment, we've not experienced any unrest, no chaos. I think they've done very well. Let the state administrator just concentrate on the assignment that's been given to him to come to Rivers State and carry out. Any attempt to deviate from that, honestly, it's like creating an activity where there's none.
All right. Let me come back to you, of course, Jumbo. Now, Jumbo, in your opening remark, you talked about the intel, security intel that the president might have been fed with as faulty. Hence, maybe the need even for a declaration of a state of emergency, wasn't necessary. Based on the information that you have, even as a journalist, there were explosions. So where does that leave us? What don't we know?
Well, that there are some people create propaganda, unnecessary propaganda. I don't sit in the office. I get into the creeks, I get into the mangroves, I get on the streets to get the information. And so when you look at the incidents that have happened at Bodo, the TMP that is operated by Renaissance African Energy Company Limited, there was no explosion. The company itself has come out to say the pipeline was tampered with, which caused the fire, but there was no explosion. And already it has been restored to normalcy and is operating. At Omoku in Onelga, there was actually no explosion. A fire incident that was at best. At Soku, just a pipeline, whatever happened, and then there was a fire. Remember, it was a gas line. So anything could have caused the fire, but it was not an explosion. The community has come out to speak. Shell has come out to speak. Renaissance Energy has come out to speak. There was no explosion. At Bonny, at Cotton Channel, it was lightning storm that night that hit a wellhead and then caused the fire. No explosion. At Okrika, a pipeline ruptured and was leaking petroleum products. There was no explosion. And NNPC and the relevant companies have stepped in and fixed them. There was no explosion. There was no terrorism. There was no crisis anywhere. Nobody has shot a gun any part of Rivers State all of this period. So that is why when I say that whatever intel that was availed to the president that led to him making the decision to call in a state of emergency was faulty. It was not grounded. It was not based on facts. We are here. I don't know of other journalists, but for me, I am on the street. And these things, we have the record, we have the visuals, so that's whatever intel that was provided by the president. Let him hear it from me that it is faulty. It was not well grounded. The conditions precedent spelled out by the Constitution for the declaration of a state of emergency was absent in Rivers State. So there was no need for a state of emergency. There was no natural disaster. There was no explosion anywhere. There was no act of terrorism. There was no act of war. There was no invasion. All the conditions precedent stated in Section 308 of the Constitution, none of them were existent in Rivers State as at the time the state of emergency was declared.
All right.
So there was no need. There was no need. So the president may need to reject. He needs to check who and who is listening to, that is giving him the information about what's happening in Rivers State. If he does not have people who can give him the correct intel, let him reach me. I will advise him.
All right, let me leave you for a moment, Jumbo. Let me come back to, of course, Mr. Diran on this one. Now, Mr. Diran, you, in your opening remark, you said democracy is absent in Rivers State. I mean, I would like your response to Mr. President's approach, not just to the issue of Rivers State right now, issues as regards or related to the rule of law and the application of the Constitution. I would like to make reference to a write-up by Farouk A. Bairogi, where there's a phrase in that write-up where he said, Tinubu as yesterday's rebel and today's tyrant. In that write-up, he tried to sort of draw a link beyond according to him, the unconstitutional usurpation of the power of Rivers State and explore why he seems to be doing the exact things he spent his political career condemning before he became president. I would like you to link this to what you said when you said there's the absence of democracy in Rivers State.
Yes, politicians are very wise. And when you are talking of a strategist, don't forget to mention Bola Tinubu, the president of the country. You can see that all politicians, especially at the presidency, they always have their target on three good states. That is Lagos, Rivers, and Kano. This is simply because they know that the turnout of votes from these three states, and considering their economic stand, is always states that they want to have in their kitty. So for Ahmed Bola Tinubu, if anything, minute is happening in Rivers, and he's seizing that opportunity to take over Rivers, that is the reason why the governors and everybody are saying there are not enough evidence or criteria to demonstrate that emergency rule should come there. But as it is now, you just quote, an article written by somebody. That is exactly what it is. That is, the Bola Tinubu as a governor in Lagos State then, all what he fought against are exactly what he is doing now. We have read many of his statements where he condemned absolutely emergency rule. And you will think as a Democrat, if he has that opportunity to become the president, he will never repeat, the idea of instituting an emergency rule anywhere in the country. He has started with Rivers. And if you are comfortable with what is happening elsewhere, immediately after it happened in Rivers, even the politicians, the APC in Osun, have started calling for emergency rule in Osun simply because of mere community clash. That is, what they cannot get through the ballot box, they believe they can get it through through the introduction of emergency rule or through the back door. And this is why it is very important not only for the governors to challenge this. It is a good exercise to test the Constitution on the right of the president to declare emergency rule anywhere in the country. Because if care is not taken, and if the Rivers State issue is taken lightly or allowed to go, you can be rest assured that it may extend to other states, irrespective of whatever is the minor occurrence or situation that does not even warrant emergency rule. So this is why Nigerians should come out and condemn this. Even if the presidency has other information, if they have other reasons, it should be expressly stated, but not based on the crisis between the political crisis in the state. Just as the journalist just explained now, most of the information he dished out to us this night were not known to many Nigerians. That is, there wasn't much incident that could have warranted, asking Fubara to go. But it's quite unfortunate we find ourselves in this situation. But I still support the governors forum, especially the PDP governors, to challenge this act of, I don't want to call it any other name, this presidential order. I want to call it presidential order because even the approval gotten by the House, through the Senate and the House of Reps, is even faulty. A lot have said that in this kind of a situation, it's not right to call, to make it a voice vote. You should have allowed everybody to vote so that you do the counting, and with Nigerians to be sure that you have the 2/3 majority that supports the presidency's stand.
I mean, we are going to get to the role of the the legislative arm, and even some other key players or stakeholders in this issue. But you said something that seemed to strike a chord before I leave you. You said that you sort of reiterated what I read, that the same things the president, while he was governor, fought against is almost the same thing he's doing right now. Now, my question is this: why is it that many times Nigerian politicians, while they're in office, seem to forget, the values they stood for? Many of them act, for want of words, just lay palace there, almost anyhow. But when they're out of office, they become motivational speakers and special advisors on how they feel the state should have been better run, forgetting that they were once there and didn't do anything, maybe even made it worse. So why do you think that is?
You see, they will be in the best position to answer this. But all that I know...
No, I mean, you are a former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's... So you definitely would have mingled with a lot of them. So why is it? What's the reason? What could be the case?
There are 3 lives of politicians, but there is one principle. The 3 lives are what they stood for before getting to power. The second life is what they stand for while in power. And the third will now be perhaps regrets or whatever when they get out of power. But what is paramount in politics or among politicians is, it is about me, myself, and I. That is it. And not the people. Anything short of that, if you expect anything short of that, you are not going to get any answer. That's just it.
And some will say it's also a reflection of very weak institutions and powerful individuals.
That is exactly what it is. And we are not strengthening our democracy with this kind of behavior and with this kind of leadership that we are bringing. We are not. And there is no hope inside because the system is getting more corrupt on a daily basis. Politicians are becoming wiser with every law, put in place to ensure that at least we move we move some steps forward politically or democratically. But we are not getting anywhere.
All right. I mean, at this point, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, I would open up with Sam Yohanna. I mean, you're a member of the All Progressives Congress. Your party is really getting the knocks on this. I mean, even as a party member, are you, in support of what the president, has done? But I think I'll get your response on that when we return. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and we are discussing, of course, the state of emergency declaration in Rivers State by President Bola Tinubu and the, of course, suspension of the governor of the state, Fubara. I still have my guest with me, Samuel Yohanna. He's a former organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Kaduna State. That's who is joining from virtually. I also have Diran Odeyemi, the former deputy national publicity secretary of the People's Democratic Party, joining virtually from Abuja. And also Godswill Jumbo, a public affairs analyst, joining virtually from Rivers. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Now, Sam, I said I was going to ask you. You are a member of the All Progressives Congress. And, I mean, definitely your party is getting the knocks. It's the ruling party in all of this. Many Nigerians are even beginning to maybe rethink their options ahead of 2027. So, I mean, as a party member, how does this make you feel? Are you in support of what Mr. President did?
I will say yes, and I will say no. Yes, in the sense that the president has a lot of intel that a lot of us are not privy to it for him to have acted in that direction. No, in the sense that he would have consulted more widely before taking that decision. Because I see that decision was taken in a hasty manner, that honestly, if he had consulted widely, engaged more stakeholders, I think this issue would have been nipped in the bud before it got to this level. I'll respond to what Mr. Diran said, that APC supporters in Osun have started calling for a state of emergency in Osun, that what APC couldn't get through the ballot, they want to get it through the back door. I don't think that's the situation, and I, for one, will never support the idea of calling for state of emergency in Osun State. Issues can be sorted out and handled amicably over there. For my party getting knocked left, right, and center, well, when you take this kind of decision, you're expected to get negative responses more than positive responses. The reason because the democratic structure in the state have been relegated to the background. As we were talking before we went on break, right now, there is a democratic structure in the state. What we have there is a military administrator, though he's retired. The local government arm of government, which is the closest arm of government to the common man, is there in limbo now, where decisions to be taken there can't be taken. It has to be taken from government house by the administrator. My suggestion to my party is that we have to get ourselves more prepared, because the challenge towards 2027, it's more than what we experienced towards 2023. Already there are discordant tunes from other regions in the country where it is obvious that some of the votes we got in 2023, we might not be able to get half of those votes. So the party has to put itself on a sound footing and see how these things are resolved as soon as possible.
All right. Sam, even though some would also say, okay, maybe I should...
Progress will be made, and I'm sure the 6 months, I am believing that
I think we're having a bit
within the 6 months, I expect to see an extension after 6 months. I don't expect. I expect the democratic structure to be reinstated after 6 months.
Sam, sorry,
I think that might take for now.
Interrupt you. I just want to ask you a very point-blank question. I mean, looking at everything that is happening within the political space, of course, we know that your party, the APC, is as the ruling party. Are you still proud to be a member of the party, a member of the All Progressives Congress?
Sure, I am. Sure, I am. Of course, I am a proud APC member. And if you want to ask me an alternative, the other opposition parties, how are they? They are all riddled with one crisis or the other. So we still remain the most formidable party for now and positioning ourselves for re-election towards 2027.
All right.
All this coalition you're seeing, people moving to one party realignment here and there. Look, let me tell you, a coalition that is going to be formed based on hate, grief, mischievousness won't see the light of the day. I tell you, they are gathering there for a purpose. A lot of them, if they have gotten an appointment in this present government, they would have even gone to where they are now. So I am telling you what they're doing there is effort in futility.
All right, let me leave you for a moment, Sam, and let me come to, of course, Godswill Jumbo. Godswill, let's look at the role of the former governor of the state in all of this, in person of Wike, who is now the minister of the FCT. We saw in that speech that the president gave that day that led to the declaration of a state of emergency. He did not mention his name once, but on multiple occasions in that speech, he mentioned the now suspended governor of the state, Fubara. But many are asking that, look, is this really balanced justice? Because even the AGF, that's the Attorney General of the Federation, seemed to have given him a sort of slap on the wrist. So I would like to know your take on the role of the former governor of the state and how the case was handled. I mean, was it balanced?
First of all, let's background the issue. Nyesom Wike, the former governor of Rivers State, has acted true to character. Remember the crisis between Rotimi Amechi, the then governor of Rivers State, and President Goodluck Jonathan as at then. Who was the one stoking the fire? Who was the one creating narratives? Who was the one telling the president's wife that Governor Amechi wants to collect the land belonging to the riverine people? Who was the one behind all of that? I mean, simple questions. We can be able to connect the dots. You know, narratives were created against Governor Rotimi Amechi then, you know, which stoked the fire, which, you know, aggravated the situation, made it intractable, made it irresolvable. You understand? Now, you come now, and then stories are being woven around the governor. Who was the first to show, you know, indicate, you know, a disposition to peace? They met with the president, conditions that were strange, conditions that were alien to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, constitutions that were clear violations of the Constitution of Nigeria were set out before him. He took the first step by withdrawing the cases they have in court, which ultimately, you know, became an undoing for himself and the government. It was for peace. And then several other steps have been taken. They gave him 48 hours, you know, ultimatum to present a budget. In order to meet up with the budget, he called them, he wrote to them. The young men, Amewule and Co, refused to, you know, accept, you know, the letters that were sent to them. Their security men and made sure that there was no access that was granted to the messengers. And then the governor said, okay, you're not taking my calls, you're not receiving my letter, let me come by myself. And then the gate was locked against him. And yet, the president came out to say the kind of things he said against Governor Fubara. The president is not in Rivers State. The president does not know Governor Sim Fubara. The same thing with Fagbemi SAN. And imagine somebody that is the senior advocate of Nigeria talking the way he was talking, you know, saying things that were in clear violation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And then you are making a case against somebody you don't know, you don't have any details about him. And then you are saying this. So the issue is the president is in Abuja, Fagbemi is in Abuja. Who is giving them the information which they are working with? Who is stoking the crisis? Who is motivating, you know, the antagonists to levy war against the governor, against the government?
Jumbo, some are suggesting that maybe the president should have also suspended the FCT minister. Do you think that should have been the case too? Did you get my question?
Look, we're not saying suspension is an understatement. He should be sacked immediately. He should be sacked immediately. He should be removed from the cabinet. He's becoming a big embarrassment to the Tinubu government. If President Tinubu is not aware, he should ask around. He should come to Rivers State. Let's tell him what's going on. He should sack him. We're not talking about suspension. He should get him out of that cabinet so that his government can have some measure of legitimacy. It can have to measure some things of appeal. That man has no business being there embarrassing the president the way he's doing. He met with Pandey. He sued for peace. He asked those Niger Delta elders to reach out to the governor and, try to persuade him to obey the ruling of the Supreme Court. What happened? The next day, his minister went on live TV and was abusing a people, an ethnic nationality, the fourth largest ethnic nationality in Nigeria. Abused them. He did not stop there. He went to Abulama and consolidated on it. For him, the Niger Delta people should rise up in arms and fight Tinubu. Well, the Ijaw people are wiser. They are fishermen, by the way. They are the men of the sea. The fisherman does not rush after things. He sets his hook, he puts his net, and he waits for it. When the time comes, the fishes will be caught up in that net. So the Ijaw people, they behave like who they are. The fishermen, the riverine men, the mariners, they took their time, they waited. And so when it didn't work out for him, what has happened now? What has happened now? He has been kicked out of the way. A state of emergency has been imposed, and his men are out of the picture. What's going on? So for me, I think suspension is an understatement. The president should ask him to go.
Are you saying that this
to come home?
Are you suggesting that the declaration of a state of emergency is not even in favor of the FCT minister? Did you get my question?
I can tell you that it is political strategizing that showed Wike out of the picture. Remember, he has been promising the president for 2 years. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Am I getting you?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying that the president has been promised for 2 years that Governor Sim will be kicked out, will be removed from office, and 2 years down the line, that has not happened. There has been too many press conferences, too many press briefings, too many media chats, too many ultimatums, 48 hours ultimatum, too many of them, too many threats of impeachment, and yet, 2 years down the line, the governor has not been removed. The president understands that. Remember, President Tinubu is not the man who plans his day in that day. He plans ahead. He wants Rivers State in 2027. So he cannot wait for Nyesom Wike to be granting press interviews, media chats, and all of that. That is not how you remove a governor. That is not political strategy. No, you don't do that. If you want to remove the governor, remove him. But you can't remove him. So the president has to step in, use his own methods to step in, even though it has been shown to be illegal. But the president needs Rivers State, and he has to step in to take it. So Wike is out of the picture. It's as simple as that. That is what we're saying. The president should review. He's now, thank God, an administrator of the state. He should use the administrator.
Jumbo, I'll come back to you.
Quality, credible.
Jumbo, I'll come back to you. I know you have a lot to say, but I'll come back to you. Let me bring Mr. Diran into the conversation, Odeyemi. I mean, you are a member of the People's Democratic Party, and it appears like the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, is still a member of your party, that's the PDP, and an active participant in the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, that's the APC. Now, my question to you is this. What does it appear untouchable, within your party, the PDP?
As far as I'm concerned, and I want to believe that is the opinion of virtually everybody in PDP, if not, something will have been done. Wike, as far as we are concerned, has not committed any offense. When I say any offense... So
is being involved with the opposition, that's the APC now, if it's the PDP. Being involved is not considered, anti-party by your party.
That is the premises I want to lay.
Okay.
Before he went into this job, he seeked the opinion of members of the party at the ward level, at the local government level, at the zonal level, even even at the national level, and they all saw it and endorsed him as doing a service to the nation, irrespective of, you know, the political party that he is coming from. So if he has that endorsement, if he is allowed to serve in Tinubu's administration, what now is his offense? Up till now, he has not told anybody that he's leaving PDP. Call a meeting of PDP today, Wike will be there. So I don't understand why you think he should be expelled because he is a minister.
I just want to get things in perspective, and I'm sure Nigerians too, you know, who are watching would also want to sort of understand the dynamic. So what we are saying right now is, if as a member of your party, you know, I choose to work for the opposition, even during elections, and I take permission and I say, sorry, I want to work for the opposition, and I'm given, okay, you can go ahead. It doesn't contravene the party's constitution.
No, you see, you are missing two things together now. Before the election, there were crises in PDP. And the crisis stemmed from the fact that Wike contested the presidential election with Atiku. At the end of the day, there was this internal arrangement between himself and Atiku that he would be made the vice president. That failed for one reason or the other. And his argument and the argument of other five governors were that, one, you can't have the North as the presidential candidate, have the North as the chairman of the party, have the North as the campaign manager for the president. If and eventually we win this election, who will be representing the South in the arrangement of things? And because of that, another demand was made, which is that let IU step down so that we can have somebody from the South to take over as the party chairman. This, I want to believe, in PDP arrogancy or in Atiku's arrogancy. You know, they couldn't find a solution at that time, thinking that they could win that election without the five of them. And up till now, we are still in that crisis.
Okay, so
it's a different ball game.
Okay, just quickly.
Coming into APC administration is a different ball game.
Okay, so just quickly, because you are really pressed for time. If there is an election today, right now, what do you think, or what party do you think it would work for? Your party, the People's Democratic Party, or the APC?
I until he tell us, because Wike, I want to believe is very brave. He will tell you where he is going and what he wants to do. So if tomorrow he comes out to say yes, if Tinubu is contesting in 2027, I'm going to support him, I will expect the leaders of the party to take action, the right action against him. Not until then. If we are judging him with the political situation in Rivers, they are two different things.
Okay.
The political situation in Rivers is about godfatherism and the sons, keeping to agreement or whatever. It has got nothing to do with what we are doing in PDP and our belief.
Okay. All right. Let me quickly leave you, sir, and let me move to Sam Yohanna, because we are really pressed for time and we really need to go. Sam, before we close, drop the curtains on today's episode, just quickly. I mean, as a member of the ruling All Progressives Congress, right? Nigerians expect more from your party. I mean, there's the permit me to use the word, cost of living crisis. A lot of Nigerians, are finding it hard, to feed themselves. There's even a challenge on social media, 30-day rant. I'm sure you must have seen that, as regards the things Nigerians are going through and are not comfortable with. I mean, as a party man and a party member, what would you rather advise your party does differently?
Well, we all acknowledge that times are hard. Nigerians are going through excruciating pains. And is the government doing something about it? Yes. But like I always say, their approach, it's not what we expect. Because if there's somebody having malaria, having fever, you prescribe three days injection for him. And you could give him the whole 3 injections in 1 day. You almost collapse because of pain. So that's what is happening. But thank God, the price of foodstuff has started coming down. We would have expected the government to do something more drastic because even the farmers are
I'm sorry to come in there. You said the price of foodstuff has started coming down. Maybe it's just me, but I know I frequent the market a lot, and I don't really see a difference. The price of rice, for instance, per paint model seems to be going up. The same thing for protein. I mean, if I got it correctly, a kilo of turkey, for instance, in Lagos is about 9,000. It used to be 7,000. So I'm asking, maybe they can let us know where these prices are coming down in the markets, you know, or the items. But
as I speak to you here in Kaduna, price of rice now, there used to be like 100,000 naira, has dropped to about 75,000 naira now. The same thing applies to beans and other grains. Yes. I was meant to understand that there was massive.
75,000.
I was meant to understand that there was about that. Because my wife bought a bag I think 2 weeks ago. I was meant to understand that there was massive importation of foodstuff into the country. But I expected the government to have flooded the country with fertilizer so that it will encourage the farmers, the local farmers, to step up their cultivation. Because a lot of farmers are complaining now that market is being flooded by imported grains, and the ones they harvested, they are finding it difficult to break even because of the high cost of farming implements and agro-allied chemicals they bought during the last farming season. So you can see that if care is not taken, that might discourage other farmers from going into farming this farming season. So I expect government to import a lot of fertilizer and see how they can afford the market with it. But let me tell you, it's work in progress. If there is no pain, there is no gain. But I tell you, things will pick up and things will stabilize for good sooner or later.
The question now remains is how long can Nigerians wait for things to stabilize? Because the realities of many Nigerians daily is actually grueling. But gentlemen, I'd like to say a big thank you for your time on the program today. Samuel Yohanna, former Organizing Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, joining virtually from Kaduna. Diran Odeyemi, the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, also joining virtually from Abuja. And Godswill Jumbo, a public affairs analyst and journalist, joining from Rivers. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. All right. And this, of course, is where we drop the curtains. In case you missed out, you can catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV. You can also choose to follow us across social media with the same handle. Of course, we are now live on GoTV channel 23. You can watch us there, and you can choose to follow me personally at Dakpo at Digboyi. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night, and stay with News Central. Up next is an interview with Dele Parotimi, an exclusive you don't want to miss.